Good evening, folks. My name is Ron Sheldon. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about the international export business for school and transit buses. What we're looking to do is take the current opportunistic approach we have within our organization and turn it into a systematic approach and able to decrease our sales and possibly double them over a 3-period time. What we're going to go through in this presentation is we're going to review the international bus industry, market overview, global size and growth, and share by geographic region. We're going to build a systematic approach to prioritize markets. We're going to show you how we do that. We're going to be doing it by select macroeconomic factors and show you how the impact of the competitive landscape affects us, and then we'll summarize it all. Our approach will be to develop a data-driven and systematic approach to identify the international sales opportunities that are out there right now to help complement the current opportunistic sales approach. Opportunistic is where a client calls into us and we take the order. There is no proactiveness going out looking for business, cultivating business, and gaining business. And the systematic approach will allow us to do those things that we don't do with the opportunistic approach. With our international market model, we're going to ascertain market attractiveness by region and country to determine through a data-driven exercise that selects macroeconomic indicators and local bus demand, and then we're going to prioritize the resulting countries by region. To quickly overview the international and the world global bus market, in 2009 there was 540,000 buses sold at a 21.8 billion in sales. We represent a Type C bus. That represented 60% of the overall bus transit market, about 340,000 units. World transport school bus stock is about 2.2 million vehicles. The average life is 10 to 20 years in age. For geography, China and India have projected growth rates of plus or minus 5% per year for the bus business. China is the largest producer and consumer, accounts for over 1/3 of the global sales. Latin America is growing at 7% annually, with used bus sales experiencing growth as well. Bus rapid transit is driving the Latin American business. The Latin American is coming out of the stone age of used school buses to transport people, the chicken buses or the diabolos, and they're moving into what's called a BRT system, which is a rudimentary first stage transit system using new buses. Africa and the Middle East is growing plus or minus 7%. Due to infrastructure improvements within their country, and with that, the resultant surge in traffic in bus and cities and over long distances. Turkey is the main supplier for buses for those two regions. Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East collectively account for 17% of the global sales. When you're talking about competitors from a world marketplace, there are literally hundreds of companies and world manufacturers, range from fully integrated bus manufacturers like ourselves to small guys who just build bodies and mount them on truck chassis. We look at the international business, or the world global growth business as a whole. We figure it's going to be 3.5% growth per annum. From a world standpoint, 2004 to 2009, growth was at a 4.8%. We are projecting from 2009 to 2014 that growth will be about 2.7%, and we take into account the global economic downturn that we do not see turning around until 2014, 2015. If you look at share by geographic region, and this is how we narrow down the regions to the markets we want to penetrate into, of the 340,000 units in the Type C, 20% of them are going into luxury coaches, 16% are going into intercity buses, and 62% are going into transit school buses, the market we want to penetrate. So if you look at the pie chart, we can quickly do away with some of these countries very easily. North America, which is the blues, 17%. This is an export business. North America doesn't count, so we pull that out of there. China, 36% of the market. They are a low labor cost market. They have more bus manufacturers than any other place in the world. They're the largest consumer and the largest manufacturer. The problem is they can build and produce a bus for about 50% of the cost that we can in the United States. There's no competitive edge there. You can't sell value at a higher price because the price is too low for us to compete. So we take that one out of the marketplace. The turquoise, which is India, basically is the same situation as China. Very large, very closed market, a lot of manufacturers. Their bus pricing, because of the labor costs, are about 50% of the U.S. bus. We can't effectively ship into that market and compete either. In the Europe market, which is the purple, 5%, Europe has specific regulations unique to Europe, the Euro regulations themselves. The U.S. standards, although strict as they are, do not quite meet the Euro standards. Therefore, we have to spend a lot of time testing and money developing a particular bus that only goes into that particular market. Because it's only a 5% share, we do not feel that it warrants the extra cost of going to do that, to do the changes to homologate it to Europe. Therefore, we take that out. The three that remain are Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. They all take the same engine. It's a Euro 3 standard engine. They all take the same type of bus. It's usually a 50 to 52 passenger bus. And they all have pretty decent growth rates. Those three together control 17% of the world market, which is 36,550 vehicles. Now, if you look at the growth bus demand by region, the ones we took out, North America is shrinking by 5.5%. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you today. We need to shore up our business as a whole, and this export strategy will add another revenue stream. If you look at the three markets we pinpointed, Africa has an 8.1% growth, Middle East 6.3% growth, and Latin America 7.7% growth per year. Those are pretty good growth rates and something you can sustain and grow a business on. Now, in order to determine what countries we attack in those three particular regions, we have to assess a score based on an equal scoring system based on factors within the countries, so we can determine who's good, who should we shoot at first. We looked at the demand indicators, population growth, age of population, all dictates on the bus, how many people are going to be on a bus, how many buses they require. Urbanization rate, are they living in the city, living outside the city? GDP growth rate, do they have the money? Education spending, do they care about spending money on the schools? Economic aid, can you get money from the World Development Bank to pay for the buses? And trade is a percentage of GDP, which basically tells you, are they a closed market or an open market? And then you look at the projected school bus demand, and that's based on children's schools and bus capacities, and you can extrapolate how many buses are required in a particular country. Those 10 factors are broken into 4 groups, which is population, GDP, trade, and industry. We then weight each one of those 10 factors in those 4 groups, and then we take those factors and look at each country to assign to get a score for each country. So therefore, if you look at this sheet within the 3 countries, regions, Africa, Middle East, and Latin America, you look at the countries within those, and the world rankings are on the left with the region rank on the right. So in the Africa, Nigeria ranks as number 5, but it's the number 1 in the world, but number 1 in their rank. In the Africa. Middle East, Iraq is number 4 overall in the world, but number 1 in the region. In Latin America, Brazil is a number 7 overall, but number 1 in the region. This kind of gives you an idea from 1 to 19 or 1 to 25 and the countries in order of priority and how you should attack, and then you can shape go-to-market strategies that are regionally driven. Some markets are easier to get to than others, so you may take a number 3. You may attack a Mexico, which is a number 2 market, instead of a Brazil or a number 1, because Mexico is easy to get to. Now you can shape some strategies to attack these particular markets. If you look at our business in 2008, we basically did 2,000 units over 5 countries and $180 million in revenue, all opportunistic. People called us, said there was opportunities. We provided proposals and got the business. In 2010, we look at taking the opportunistic and add a systematic to it. We can expect to get a certain bit of opportunistic business. We can add some countries to it that we do systematic approach to. We can look at increased units. We can do projections on how many units we could possibly get based on a percentage of sales. And we figure in 2010 we can come up with 2,340 units in a $327 million forecast, revenue forecast. 2011, we're going to bump that up to 21 countries. We're going to increase our human labor to assist us in meeting those goals. We're going to increase our units to 4,600 units. And we are still in the process of calculating total revenue, but it should be in excess of $420 million. What we want to do is we want to grow the international sales to be 40% of our total revenues, up from the 20% in year 08. And that is achievable using the systematic approach. Again, what we want to do is keep the opportunistic. We'll take the call